welcome to SVG TV News for Tuesday, March 28, 2017. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. Noting that there should be regularly scheduled international flights to this country by next year, Prime Minister Dr. Rav Gonsalves has also indicated that there could be several chartered flights coming in for the June-July Carnival season this year. On Monday's media conference, the Prime Minister called on senior members of the Ministry of Tourism and Culture to start organizing international chartered flights as early as next week. He said this will particularly give persons overseas the opportunity to notify their employers months in advance for vacation time.
I'm expecting that there will be several charters over Carnival. And based on the information which I've been given by those who are directly involved, I would expect that we will begin to see regular flights for the next tourist season, which is a November tourist season. But I expect to see charters for Carnival. I've told Glenn and I've told Cess, and they appreciate that point, that those charters have to be pinned down fairly soon.
The Prime Minister and Minister of Airports also put pressure on the CEO of the Tourism Authority, Glenn Beach, and Minister of Tourism, Cecil Mackey, to take the lead to get the chartered flights organized with greater acceleration.
In fact, some would have already started to book to come home for Carnival. And visitors who want to come outside of Vincentians, we have to remember that it's only a relatively small number of persons who can say that they're taking leave within a week's notice, within days' notice. People have to give their employer a good 2-3 months notice to say, listen, I want to take my leave around Carnival, and they want to know if they're going to have direct flights. And that's a matter which should be, I'm hopeful that within the next week or two, that we are going to see some things being pinned down. You can't delay that. I believe these guys would probably feel I'm using the media to put the pressure on them too. And if they feel that way, yes.
With the decommissioning of the Ebenezer Joshua or E.T. Joshua Airport here, Prime Minister Dr. Rav Gonsalves is assuring his relatives that his legacy will be kept alive. This comes as the family of the late trade unionist, political leader and premier expressed concerns at a recent remembrance service at his gravesite about how his memory would be kept alive now that the E.T. Joshua Airport has been closed. At a media conference on Monday, PM Gonsalves said that he is one of the staunchest advocates of the late Joshua becoming a national hero and that he will do all he can to keep his legacy alive.
I am supportive of Joshua being one of the candidates to be considered for the status of national hero. I've written about that. I wrote that he should be given serious, that George Augustus McIntosh himself, Robert Milton Cato, and also J.P. Eustace. And there are some people who feel that want things to be so pure for a national hero. Because they never support Joshua in life, they don't want Joshua. Some the same thing with Cato. And, but I always ask the question, how is it that Grantley Adams could be, and Barrow can be, and Vere Bird can be?
Dr. Gonsalves, however, appealed to the family of Joshua to keep his gravesite tidy. He outlined that there is seemingly a propensity of Caribbean people to be negligent of the resting place of their former leaders.
I'd like them very much to be on top of the ball to ensure that the graveside of E.T. Joshua is properly kept. I know a couple of years ago, Noel Jackson and a couple of other trade unionists had to go to make sure that the graveside is properly kept. By the way, I saw a complaint about this in Barbados about the graveside of Grant Adams and of Tom Adams in Barbados. So this seems to be like an unacceptable Caribbean phenomenon.
Leader of the opposition New Democratic Party, Dr. Godwin Friday, is anticipating the hearing dates of the election petitions in the High Court here, scheduled for May 2nd and 4th, 2017. Stating that the government's legitimacy is by far questionable, Dr. Friday noted on radio recently that he hopes that both sides will be forthcoming in the court, as he said it is the only way forward for the nation.
These are dates that have been set by the court, and both of the parties are expected to do their very best to comply, to be ready for those dates. And of course, we are anxious to have the matter, we've been saying all along, heard on their merits, and we hope that the other side, and that is what they intend to do, get the matter to be heard on its merits as quickly as possible and have the matter resolved the way it's supposed to be done in the court of law. If we have a dispute on the elections, that's where we go. And the other way in which it can be resolved, of course, is if the government would simply say, well, listen, there is too many questions, there's too much cloud hanging over the last election, let's clear the air and go back to the polls and get a clear mandate from the people. And if the people give that to you, then fine, you're a government, you rule. But right now, we have a government whose legitimacy is seriously challenged, and it's not good for the country. So the sooner, I'm glad to see that the court has taken initiative in setting the date, and our lawyers are preparing, and we are looking forward to going into the court and hearing this matter on its merit. But
the NDP continues to challenge the results of the December 2015 election in two constituencies, Central Leeward and North Windward. They have taken the matter all the way to the Court of Appeal, which recently ruled in their favor to have the matters brought back into the High Court here. The participation of all stakeholders is integral to the process of revising the building codes here. That's the view of Anthony Bowman, the Chief Technical Officer in the Ministry of Housing, as he gave remarks at the opening of a workshop held here today geared at harmonizing and streamlining the national building codes to build resilience against the impact of climate change. Bowman stated that the national building codes were established in 2008 by Parliament and came into force in 2010 and has been implemented incrementally. He added that the time has come for the codes to be reviewed, with stakeholders' participation being key to the process.
Any revision must take into consideration the players who are integral in the building development process in our country. And so we thought it quite apt to invite you this morning, the persons in the financial institutions, to be a part of this process. It's, in a sense, consultative, but at the same time, information given. So we are hoping today that we can see how, as a regulatory arm of government, that is the Physical Planning Unit, Ministry of Housing, that we can partner better to ensure that the investment which you as an organization put out maximizes a return for your investment, but also really and truly benefits the persons who are going to make use of these developments, principally houses.
Bowman further stated that the impacts of climate change are factors that must be considered when revising the building codes, and noted that the workshop creates an opportunity for stakeholders to develop a process to build resilience within the building sector.
So we are seeing it as it can be a way in which you would reduce losses. Homes have to be insured. Homes are blown away, insurance companies must come in and pay. You as a financial institution, you would have put out money, so the homeowner will come back to you in case there are, damages from natural disasters. And as we are seeing, as I mentioned before, climate change is really and truly going to the impact it's going to have is that you're going to have more disasters, more frequent, and the intensity in them is going to increase. So what we are trying to do is to gather from you this morning and share with you, work with you to develop a process by which we are going to build resilience into our building sector and so reduce damages.
Police here are investigating the circumstances leading to the death of 58-year-old laborer Julian Murray of Maho, Camden Park. According to reports, Murray was involved in an altercation on the evening of March 24, 2017 with some relatives. He was later taken to the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital by a concerned resident and died sometime this morning. 3 persons are said to be in police custody assisting with the investigation into Murray's death. Director of the SVG Planned Parenthood Association, Nellie Phillips, is of the view that the current system continues to fail adolescents here. Speaking at an annual Community Nursing Staff Family Planning Workshop, Phillips spoke on the 2016 National Pregnancy Statistics and said while the overall numbers appear to be decreasing, more still can be done to prevent teenage pregnancy.
As health practitioners, we educate and administer contraceptives daily, which are often directed to our adult population, leaving behind many of our adolescents. Please don't see this as an attack on you personally, but the system in which you work. A system that continues to allow our adolescents under the age of 18 to give consent to sex, but takes away their right to access contraceptives freely. Today, we are reaping the fruits of this decision. 9 adolescents between the age of 10 to 14 and 101 adolescents between the ages of 15 to 17 became mothers in 2016. Yes, the overall figures are declining, but when placed in age categories, we are seeing a complete different picture, or I should say, the true picture of adolescent pregnancy in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
And newly appointed Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment, Cuthbert Knight, stressed the importance for the continued sensitization of the repercussions of adolescents engaging in sexual activities.
All we are saying, we should be able to sensitize, educate teenagers of the implications if they are going to involve in sex at an early age. And we are also educating and sensitizing them as to the measures, the interventions they can take to prevent themselves from becoming pregnant at school age. So I am not saying here by any means that persons should not be involved in sex. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that we should be able to sensitize teenagers of the implications. I speak about implications. Now, teenagers, and this does not refer to female only. And a female, I don't believe, can become pregnant by herself.
Country representative of the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, Anique Wilson, said she expects good results from the workshop.
At the end of it all, a strengthened sexual and reproductive health services at the district level. We expect you to contribute to the unfinished agenda of the Millennium Development Goals, as well as the Sustainable Development Goals. You know, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we are working on goal number 3. Also, continued development of the primary healthcare services in St. Vincent. Now, let us now be reminded what is really primary healthcare, because when we talk about sexual and reproductive health, we must focus on primary healthcare. It is defined as the essential healthcare based on a use of friendly methods and technologies that are scientifically based, socially accepted, accessible to individuals and families in the community through their full involvement. So it takes into consideration the whole aspect of community participation in health.
The workshop, which will culminate on Thursday, March 30th, seeks to address matters relating to sexual reproductive health in SVG with the participation of all district nurses, including health supervisors, family nurse practitioners, and other healthcare practitioners. Entitled Vincentian Folk Song, the 6th volume of the National Cultural Foundation, the NCF, Our Cultural Heritage Book Series, was officially launched here earlier today at the Peace Memorial Hall. The book provides a number of folkloric songs, their writers, lyrics, and music scores, which will facilitate the learning and teaching of the songs throughout SVG, especially in educational institutions. Nikita Tony has more in this report.
Dedicated to the Vincentian men and women who have worked tirelessly to promote and develop this country's musical art form, the 5th volume of a series of cultural heritage books, Vincentian Folk Songs, was launched here earlier today, Tuesday, March 28th. Established by an Act of Parliament in 2001, the National Cultural Foundation, NCF, according to Chairman Wallace Christopher, aims to stimulate and facilitate the development of culture in SVG, which can be seen through the book's publication. Noting that the book consists of 25 folk songs, Christopher outlined that the new volume seeks to preserve the country's folk songs, foster a deeper appreciation for SVG's musical art form, as well as provide an insight into numerous Vincentian composers.
That a copy of this book finds its way on the desk or shelves of every home, school, ministry, library, church, and other institution here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We hope that these songs found therein will be used for things like mass singing, cultural activities, music festivals, and other formal and informal activities. Hope that the continued use of these contents therein will help to reconnect our native Vincentians to the rich cultural heritage of our ancestors.
Outlining the hard work which went into creating the publication, person in charge of compiling and transcribing the collection, Junior Sutherland, pointed out that the original composers of the songs have not lost their intellectual rights.
I've done 36 songs, but the CD could have only hold on 25 of the 36 songs. The book is copyrighted to the National Cultural Foundation, who will protect the intellectual rights for the composer. A commercial project, I'm almost certain that at some point considerations will be made to give a portion of whatever profits that are being generated from the sales of the books back to the composers.
Deeming the book as another treasure of the island, Minister of Culture Cecil Mackey thanked all involved stakeholders for their contribution towards the preservation of this country's culture and history. He further stressed the need for a specific time of year to be allocated for the showcasing and performing of the folk songs.
Culture defines a nation, and if we do not have the history, the heritage, and the culture to continually hold up for our young people and to remind our Vincentians who are not so young that this is where we have come from, this is where we are now, and this is where we hope to go, we cannot truly develop as a nation.
Today's event marked the first activity on the NCF's calendar, with plans in place to undertake another publication featuring several of SVG's patriotic songs, along with a number of school songs used by various primary and secondary institutions. Nikita Tony reporting for SVG TV News.
Take your education seriously and use the tools available to achieve your goals. That's the encouragement given to students of the St. Martin Secondary School by Brannon Sardine, co-founder of IT Tools for Schools program, as he spoke at a recent handing over of 20 desktop computer systems to the school. Sardine stated that the program aims at donating 1,000 computers to 50 schools across the Caribbean as part of their mission to empower the youth by providing them with the tools to compete in an ever-evolving world. Sardine, who is also a former student of the St. Martin Secondary School, said he felt honored that his alma mater was the first school to benefit from the program and encouraged the students to use their opportunities wisely.
Mr. Gillens has told me that the things that you guys are being taught now and to know that you're also doing coding and website development is unbelievably impressive. I'm happy about that, and I'm happy to make sure that you guys get this gift. I'm sure you'll benefit from it, but take my word, from where I am, where I came from, and what I'm doing now, guys, the sky is the limit, right? Take the tools, take the education seriously, because you will need it, and this drive is to make sure that everyone has the ability to function on the global market, not just in Vincent. Right? Take your education very seriously. And once again, IT Tools for You, our first project, IT Tools for Schools. Congratulations and thank you.
Also speaking at the ceremony was Elizabeth Ryan, representative of the Ministry of Education, who thanked Sardine for the donation and encouraged students to not only use the equipment to advance themselves, but also show appreciation for the kind gesture by caring for the computers.
Mine, on behalf of the Ministry of Education, to extend a hearty thank you to Mr. Sardine for his timely contribution. You know, it is Helen Keller, American activist and author, who penned these words. Together, we can do so much. And we really welcome this partnership, and we want to congratulate you. You can see the smiles beaming on the faces of our boys this morning. And we know that you are going to put these devices to use to enhance teaching and learning. Let me encourage you teachers this morning to really take care of the generous donation that is before you today. And boys, make sure that you do your best to utilize these devices so that you will improve in your learning.
Meanwhile, Vice Principal of the St. Martin's Secondary School, Father Orlando Williams, stated that the school has been doing its utmost in facilitating the holistic development of the students and considers the donation a step forward. Williams also thanked Sardine for his donation and expressed confidence that it would boost the students' capacity in all areas of study.
This is one of the reasons why we are very happy this morning to accept these computers, because it goes a long way in what we are trying to do here. And I can assure you, Mr. Sardine, that they will be put to good use by our IT department. And I'm also sure that the other subject areas from time to time will make use of them as we try to expose our students to new technologies in all fields, and also to make our classroom delivery and learning more effective, more creative, and also to meet our boys where they are. So I can assure you that your donation today will go a long way, as Mr. Gum said, and we will make sure that they're taken care of and they're used by all students here at this school.